그대 잠깐 눈을 붙일 때 나는 마음에 물을 붙여요 비밀의 나만의 초콜릿 그대 차가운 몸을 녹일 때 나는 초콜릿을 녹여요 비밀의 나만의 초콜릿.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is the part 2 of my baking marathon. So far, I just came back from San Francisco. I was stuck in a train, but now we get started with the macarons. Right now, I'm going to separate the egg yolk and egg white to prepare the ingredients. Most of this recipe that I've been doing is a self learn from YouTube. If you like to learn how to make this recipe, I'll be sharing you the link and the video and the recipe that I've learned from other YouTubers. Thank you so much. Right now, I'm going to add some sugar to my egg meringue. I know we are familiar with French meringue since I've been using it, but right now I just learned how to make a Swiss meringue with adding a sugar and some meringue powder, which I found really helps to my Swiss meringue, and it really came out really nice with my macarons. I'm going to put the meringue ingredients to the double boiler in a minute, and I'm going to start mixing them up to start melting the sugar and the meringue powder on it on a double boiler to get the ingredients to collaborate. Okay, I keep mixing, and once it starts to transform into a cloudy white foam, I will be able to use my hand mixer, or I'm not sure if you can use a hand mixer with this, but I would recommend to just use a hand mixer with this, so you could just make the meringue on top of the double boiler. This meringue could be intimidating, but if you try it and you can always see the result, there's no risk of failing it, or you can quote me in that, as long as you keep mixing it. Right now I'm going to put the hand mixer. Start with a slow motion, and I'm going to transfer until to the fastest of the fastest motion of this hand mixer. It's just the same as French meringue, except this one is in a double boiler, and now I got my meringue ready, and we can test it if it's good to go by just flipping the bowl. If it's not falling down, well, then it's ready. By this time, before that, I have shifted my almond flour and my powdered sugar, and I'll be adding a white ivory food coloring gel for my macarons, since I'll be making some Earl Grey macarons at this moment. So I added just half of the ingredients so that it'll be a lot easier to mix it in. This process is called macaronage, and I really love doing this. I know it's a bit risky, but once you get it, it's so exciting to make this. I always look forward to make the macarons almost every day, especially when I found my neighbor loves macarons. So I start making more macarons, and then it inspired me to develop some flavors and some new recipe. Now I add the half of my flour, so I'll be continue mixing it. But by this point, you can still keep mixing it because it's a little still thick, and I'll be adding the food coloring gel. It's white ivory, like I said earlier. I know it's kind of dark, but it gives a beige color to my macarons, and it's a nice color to bake it with it, especially for what I'm going to do with my Earl Grey macarons. So I'll be doing the macaronage process, and I'll keep mixing it until I can form it into an 8 form. Now I still mixing it, like, because it's still a little thick, until the dough could just like go form into an 8 form. Now it's almost there. It's doing the 8 form, and yeah, it's almost time to stop. Once you can do the 8 form on the macaron, you have to stop because there's a risk of messing the dough up. Now I'm assured that I could make an 8 form, and once more again, I'm trying it again. Now the dough is ready, so I'm going to transform it to the piping bag. I have this tip that I use that it's probably 1 centimeter diameter. You can look at from the other recipe that you have, because they all use the same piping tip. So I'm going to cut that first, and before I put in in this plastic container that will help me to transform the dough. I am going to transfer it. Once that I transfer into the bag, I am going to pipe it in this silicone mat. I've used parchment paper, before, but I think I really like using the silicone mat that you can also get it from Michael's, and it's really nice once you make the macarons. Once after you bake it and you let it cool down, it gives this a really smooth feeling. So right now I'm putting it on a sheet on the silicone mat. This recipe will fill exact the whole mat, so please check the other YouTube recipes. Again, I'm not sharing the recipe that I'm doing because I just learned it from this video, and I just get inspired. I'm going to keep moving forward because it'll takes a lot of time to bite all the macarons. Almost there. I think I can fit a little bit more of my my dough, but let me tap it first just to make sure. For, for example, this one has a really small macaron, so I can fill that up, and this one too, it will just turn out fine. The purpose of like tapping it is to just get rid of the bubbles inside of the macarons. Now I have to tap it again after adding more dough. Right now, I am adding this pea flour that I got it from online. I'm cutting up the stem. I wanted to add some flour to my macaron while they are still drying, and it will stick. But this is an experiment for me. I like doing experiment on my recipes, so we'll see how it goes. It's almost there. I'm almost done with decorating my macarons. So I'm just gonna let it sit for about an hour before I put it in the oven. After that, I'm going to start making the filling for my Earl Grey. So I have this heavy cream. I'll be adding a pot, and also I'm going to share this recipe below this video. Excuse me, that was Alexa. I'm going to add all my heavy cream. I didn't want to waste any of it, and I'll be adding 2 bags of Earl Grey. Just take note, please, if you have a old Earl Grey and you wanted to make this, just buy a new bag. It's a lot more flavorful and the fragrance is amazing compared to the old bag. Although there's nothing wrong with it, but it's preferred to use a new bags of tea, because I also have this bag from in my pantry for about a couple years now, and the flavor is just kind of weak. Right now I'm going to put in a pot. I put 2 bags of Earl Grey, and I'm gonna bring this cream to the boil. I know the cream is very thick right now, but once you boil this cream, it will give this it will transfer to more liquidy cream. And now my macarons is in the oven, and I can't wait to get the result of it. And now my cream is boiling. It's almost done, and it's almost time to take it out of the boiling on the stove. Just give it another moment. Yes, let's remove it from the heat and let it sit for as long as you like. I'm just gonna leave this here to work with my other pastries. And now had my other macarons. I'm making Earl Grey, I'm making ube, and I'm making chocolate hazelnut. I'm going to separate all of them to just making sure that they are not sticking and they're all cooked. And look at that, that's the feeling that you want when you make the macaron. I'm skipping forward to this process since there are a lot, and move this other macarons there, so I get a room to put all the macarons in a cooling rack. I know it's so late at night, and yeah, and I'll just keep them organized so I can also use the other pan for other things. Okay, right now I'm going to match the macarons if they're going to fit together, and to just like make it look nice, to make sure that they can they matches the size. I know macarons can have different matches. And now I'm going to piping the filling for hazelnut praline. It's chocolate, so I had this for quite some. I prepared this before, so I already had this filling. But if you're interested to know the recipe for this one, just let me know. Maybe I can make a videos how to make it. Now I'm putting all the fillings and putting them together, and I have my first macaron, which is the hazelnut. And I'm going to put them in a clean box because I need to keep them in a box for overnight, at least to just develop the flavor. After putting them in the box, they will be in the fridge. I save a space for it. So since I think I'm making about 45 pieces of macarons, if I'm wrong, or more or less. And now I am ready. This is my ubi flavor with white chocolate. They look really nice. I would like to call this as a cookie monster. Now the next day I am done with my macarons, and I'm going to make kuign amann. Right now I'm putting the butter on the Ziploc bag to make a butter block for my kuign amann. I know it takes a lot of butter to make this kind of pastry, and it's almost the same process. It kind of reminds me of croissant actually, but with more sugar and more fat. So I'm going to get something to smack this butter to make them into a butter block. Yes, I if you are mad at someone or you're frustrated, this is the fun thing to do. It's nice because it's very satisfying to shape your butter into a bag, and I made some of it last night, but I forgot it to record it. But I probably have another 3 of these bags, and I'm putting them after all they turn into a block, and I'm be using this and other of these 3 bags to my kuign amann. Now I have them cold, so I'm gonna put them back to the fridge to let them cool down and let them be transformed into a solid. Okay, let's move on. And right now I'm making the dough for the kuign amann by adding some flour. I already add some flour and the liquid with some active yeast and sugar. I am going to make the dough in this bowl, and I already add some butter as well. Yeah, it's a butter in action. So if that's what you call it, if you love pastry and you really love butter, maybe you really like this pastry called kuign amann. If you're interested in a recipe, there's also another link for this recipe, And yeah, it's created by Chef John. It's one of my favorite YouTuber. When I want to learn new recipe, I go to his channel. So please check them out. I'm going to mix the the dough, excuse me. Let's see. And now when the dough is sticking and they all incorporated, I'm going to put in a base mat. And this base mat is, I know I got this a while ago. I really love this base mat. I'm going to add the dough now in this base mat, and I can start kneading it by hand. Yes, you can always make pastry without a hand mixer. I know I don't have a hand mixer, if you notice, but I can always make baked goods without it. Although I do wish that I have one. I am moving forward fast, and now I have this dough ready, adding some more flour to make sure that they don't stick. Just like Chef Jen said, you make the bread dough until they come together and they don't stick together. And I'm just keeping kneading until the gluten is like coming together, and it should be a really smooth dough and really nice. If you see it, they turn into a really smooth dough, and I'm almost done. Once the dough is ready, you can let it sit in the fridge, or you can let it sit in a room temperature if you like to raise it up. Pa-pam-pam. Now I'm going to put some butter to the muffin tin to make the kuign amann. This is how you make the kuign amann. You put in on more butter. I know it's a lot of butter, but you know, the more the merrier. This is a really great way to avoid stickiness to the dough, since we will having so much sugar on our dough. And adding some more sugar. If you notice the other pan, there's a black sesame. I forgot to mention that I'm making two kinds of kuign amann. I'm making kuign amann, just a regular, and the other one I'm making a black sesame flavor, which I had made some black sesame praline for it and in advance to add it to the kuign amann. Now I think my dough is ready. I already add the butter block to it. I'm going to sprinkle some sugar on it to start the kuign amann. I'm just gonna get the dough, and if you're gonna see the dough has a butter on it, I already put the butter block on the dough. So here's the dough. I am going to, I know it's kind of sticky. Let me just get it out. I let this dough chill in the fridge for a while, so I'm gonna need this great thing. Yes, finally, I can get it from the pan. I am going to put it here, and I am going to add more sugar to let the dough absorb it. So the sugar will absorb all of it by just like keep rolling in them. You see, there's so much butter in this dough. Yes, I know, but it will be good. You can trust me on this. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my black sesame praline. I made this in advance. If you're interested, I can show you how you make this. adding a little bit of club of it, and then I have to fold it again so that it gives that layer of like buttery and dough, and roll it back, and just adding more sugar to just make sure that it's like sweet enough. Sometimes if you don't add enough sugar, it will kind of give it like the bland taste. So now I'm adding more praline to it for adding more flavor. This praline is so good, and maybe one day I'll make some macaron flavor with this ingredient. After that, I think this is going to be the last fold before I'm turning into a square shape. So yes, I know you gotta keep it together. Okay, so make sure that they form into square that is enough to cut it into 12 pieces, and I just try my best. Now I have it. I'm going to put them in a muffin tin, and fold it in a certain way to make them look nice, as I learned it from Chef John. If you see the layer of the black sesame praline and the butter and the dough, it comes really nicely. I try to not just waste the dough, so I just like use all of it. I know they're so thick, and it's hard to put them together, but it'll be amazing. I'm making 12 of them, but I think I'm keeping some for myself. And now I am done. I made 24 moon cakes, which is with pumpkin filling, and I made at least about 36 plus about 42 macarons with 3 flavors, and I'm giving this 18 pieces of kuign amann, and thank you for watching.